Okay. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Science of Wealth. We are at episode 14. Isn't that just amazing? This uh, this is a podcast about the science behind wealth. My name is Enya Epele, and I am a success advisor with the Paradigm Shift Institute, along with the host and visionary of the podcast, Anu Wadhua Saini. We are so glad you could join us today from whatever part of the world you're joining us from. Thank you for waking up early and for staying up late to be here. So, if you want to learn more about Anu and me, please be sure to visit our Facebook group guide section and you'll see our stories there. These sessions are scheduled for Thursday each week at 12 p.m. Brisbane time. So please mark it on your calendar to make each session. If the timing is inconvenient, you still have the opportunity to watch the replay here. It'll be in the groups for 7 days. Okay. So, as a reminder, just to remind you that these broadcasts are valuable, but as a service to you, we offer them at no cost. So we would deeply appreciate if you attend, take great notes, implement, that's so important. And if you know you have benefited from us, then invite your friends to the community to participate and also receive the greatest benefits. So without much ado, Anu, we just finished this wonderful event. Wow. How are you doing today anyway, after yesterday and after the past 3 days?
I'm feeling so like I feel that adrenaline, because what happens when we share this material, it kind of the energy is flowing through us, right? And I'm like, I'm feeling so good. And also the messages, the emails, and the love, I received from people. That's been wonderful. And how are you?
I'm good. I've just been also kind of drinking in everything and just, trying to soak up everything. It was really a powerful 3 days. It was. And I'm so glad to have been a part of it. But let's get started anyway. We're going to
Sure.
just, go into the questions about, how the event was. And so you as the host and the visionary, coming up with it, having this idea, look, I want to help people make their first million. And I believe that the event actually surpassed the expectations of many people. I guess there was an idea that they had, and then when they came on, it was just something else. So,
Mm,
how do you feel? What's your post experience takeout?
yeah. Like I was saying, that I'm feeling definitely, we haven't served this kind of event before. And, some of the messages I had received was around people feel that the value they got out of this event was way more than they get usually from the paid programs. So that was really good to hear. And so from the live participants, we had people attended from 16 countries, and that's without counting the replay watchers, right? So that's, and and as you said, and I could feel the energy, while saving, and that was coming from the participation, the everyone's energy, because they all had this one thing in common, the desire to reach that goal. And I think that's very powerful, and obviously that wouldn't have been possible without having everyone participations there. And I believe, that event really served its purpose to really shift everyone's frequency to that millionaire frequency we talked about in the event. And obviously, that required the awareness, that required the willingness to up level their wealth consciousness. And I think we definitely achieved that. And also having this high vibrating individuals, surrounded everyone's in, everyone kind of felt uplifted. And this event was success, providing all these things. And but I just want to say this: yes, that was good, you're feeling good, you're your feeling is telling you are vibrating at the great place, right? But your job now is to make sure that you don't drop back to the same bondage. You don't drop back to the same frequency where you were prior to the event, right? And how you ensure that is by taking an action, by making a decision from this frequency where you are right now towards your bigger goal. And now that decision could be anything you've been trying to procrastinate, to start something, to make an, take an action, or maybe it is that requiring some help and just going ahead and booking the call with us. We are there to support you, but you've got to take the action from the frequency where you are now.
Yeah, that's so true. You know what you said about going back, that is so true. Most of the time, immediately after an event, there's all that adrenaline and everything. And then when you face real life and you see the situation, the tendency is to just fall back.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much for that. Now, you spoke about the millionaire frequency and that we should, learn to live from there. Shifting to that frequency, the millionaire frequency, requires embracing a higher level of wealth consciousness. Now, the question is, this is what I have observed. The challenge that most people I have spoken to have is becoming aware that what they desire already exists. And their responsibility is simply being open, channels, manifestation channels. So I believe that there are a lot of people here who would want to know, how do I tune myself to becoming a better manifester? So what would you tell such people?
Yeah, I think it's such a powerful question, right? First of all, before I actually answer this question, I want to remind everyone that whatever the desire, the goal you want to manifest, right? I want you to understand this, that as soon as you are aware of a desire, that you have got this desire within you to achieve something, it's not an accident. You really need to understand the original point of that, because I think that would truly help you in the process of manifestation. Because having that desire is already a sign that you are vibrationally there. Because otherwise, you wouldn't even have the desire. Now, I'm
Yeah.
talking about the desire. I'm not just talking about the interest. I'm talking about the burning desire. So, when you have a burning desire to reach something, to achieve something, that is because it's a proof already that you are capable of doing that. That's number one. Number
Right.
two, why? Because you are vibrationally already there. It is done. It is done already. As soon as you have this desire and you made the decision, it is done vibrationally. Now, coming back to your question, what you said that people struggle with when they see no results, there's no evidence, and that kind of obviously slows down the process of the manifestation. Because when you focus on the evidences, the senses, and you see that, okay, well, I just decided this, I have this desire, and I'm saying, okay, vibrationally it is there, but actually it is not. No, it's not showing in my bank balance. It's not showing in my results. So, what that is doing, when you're focusing on the results outside, when you're focusing on your senses outside, what that is doing, and you really need to understand that, because that is solidifying your old belief that you can't have that, right? So manifestation is not, we talked about this, I think, in the day one. Your consciousness is everything. So if your consciousness is telling you you can't have something, and obviously that is coming from your deep subconscious beliefs, then you can't have that. You receive something only when you feel that you're ready to receive. And when you're ready to receive is when you accept the belief that, yes, you can have that. But if you're going to stay focusing on the results, the senses, it's not going to help you to move from your old belief to create the new belief that, yes, you can. So you have to, what you got to do is to resolve this issue. What you got to do is face, you have to keep reminding yourself that once I have this desire, I've made this irrevocable decision, not just a random decision, a committed decision that no, I'm going to have that. It is done. And when I say it is done, you got to believe it is done. Now, every time you go back into your senses and you don't see the evidence of that thing in reality, in physical reality, I should say, then instead of focusing on that, I would say that you focus on the things which helps you create this new belief that no, it is coming, it's on its way, right?
Right.
That is something like, if you remember, I talked about this in day one or day two. So where when you're working on this goal of making your first million, and a lot of people are going to struggle with that because they haven't achieved that before, and we came up with this exercises that where you maybe you do some research that okay, this 1 million is only 10 double downs away, $1,000, so it makes you feel it's easier. Or the other one is, well, in compared to getting to the top of the Mount Everest, there's about 7 million people earning that income, that looks easier, right? So you're trying to come up with some ways to make you believe that it is doable. And you can do that by obviously surrounded by the people who have already achieved that. Because that would remind you, if they can, so can I. But obviously, if you're going to keep going and talking to the people who hasn't had any great success and they're going to keep questioning you, it's not going to help to create that belief what you really need to create to be able to fasten that, speed up that process of the manifestation.
Yeah, thank you. That was very easy to understand. And personally, I think that's one area where I have really begun to imbibe that, because sometimes I'm just looking like nothing in my physical environment is seems to align. But
Mm,
now, where before I would give up, become discouraged, become disheartened, now I tell myself it's on the way. It's on the way. So yeah,
yes.
that's very true, and I hope someone who has been asking that question has it had it answered today. So all you need to do is tell yourself, so far as you're putting in the work, you're putting in the effort, just know
Yeah.
that it is on the way. Right. So the entire event was like tailored around a specific type of people. And that was entrepreneurs, corporate professionals, career executives who want to change the narrative of their lives, but are concerned that these things don't really work. And most of the time you come to that conclusion maybe where you've attended events and you just keep doing the same thing, and then there are promises you hear, and then all those kind of things. Now, I personally am improving on the power of assumption. I've learned that. I think one of our podcasts, that was the focus.
Yeah.
And I started to practice it. And there's something Neville Goddard said, and I think he summarized it so well when he said your attention will follow the direction of your assumption. So these are just so many valuable nuggets that we share here. The
Mm.
answers to a lot of questions have been answered here. So, what would you tell this special set of people? Because this set of people are like the heartbeat of the world economy. So, how can they use this concept to expand their awareness and improve their results?
Yeah, I think again, this is so powerful, right? And you kind of already touched on it. Neville Goddard is, I can't think of anyone else who's explained this power of assumption and the attention. And he said that you must assume that you already are what you want to be. You must assume, right? And then not only assume, then you start living by faith in that assumption. So, first, you must assume that you already are, that what you want to be, and then live by faith in this assumption. You know, and I know when you don't see the evidence, that's going to be a struggle, but you don't need to wait for the evidence of those results, because that's not going to let your attention to stay on that assumption, what you're going to feel, what you really want to feel, right? Otherwise you're going to keep going back into that circle and focus on the lackness rather than assuming that it's on its way. So
Mhm.
what people usually, I think that's where people struggle. They say, well, okay, I will see, like, I will see, no, I will believe when I see the results. But actually, it is the other way around. You have to see first, you have to assume first before it will come. It doesn't work other way around. So you don't wait
Right.
for the results. People say, well, I'll be happy when I have money. No, you have to be happy first, then you will attract money. It works other way around because it's a law. It's all based on the vibration. So,
Mhm.
talking, going deep into this attention and the power of assumption, according to Neville, our attention, our focus has to be so controlled if we really want to change our self concept. And it's all about
Right.
our self concept, right? And if the entrepreneurs, the business professionals, and they want to achieve certain results and they haven't yet, that's because they haven't accepted that self concept about themselves yet. So,
Right.
what they're going to do is your focus has to be so much onto what you want rather than on not on what you don't want. So we need to practice, we need to start practicing focusing our attentions on the things we do want rather than we don't want. And our imagination, helps with that. When you really start imagining things, doing this power of visualization we talk about, it helps you to stay focused on what you want rather than on what you don't want. And I'm sure we all have heard this, that wherever our attention goes, the energy flows and
Yeah.
that thing gets bigger, right? But people say, oh, yeah, I've heard that. But do you really apply that? Because that is true. Your energy is going wherever your attention is going. So, where is your attention? Is it more on the positive side of the thing, or is it on the negative spectrum? Because, our attention is, our focus is like fuel for our goals. And if our attention is on the wrong thing, it's not going to help. We have to be really mindful, and we have to start paying more attention to our thoughts and where our attention is. And I really love how Neville says that know when you know what you want, then you must focus your attention on the feeling of the wish fulfilled.
Mhm.
And why you focus on that feeling of wish fulfilled? Because it has to be so, your mind has to be so dominated by that feeling of wish fulfilled that it really gets the all other negative ideas out of your consciousness. And it's like you know that hypnosis, right? What do? They really make you so focused on that one thing that you forget everything else. So when you really focus on that wish fulfilled, that is, when that dominates your mind, that's where your job is easy. And that really reminds me of my one of my win when I had, and I think that would really help for the person who asked the second question as well, that when you don't feel the evidence, right? So I think I've shared with you, Inia, before. So I'm a physical therapist from background, right? So I have got license to work in New York. And when I decided to pass the National Physical Therapy exam for America, I decided that in 2019 in January. And I was living in New Zealand, right? So I wasn't living in New Zealand, but I really wanted to, because that was one of the thing I used to say to my father, and I had this guilt that I wasn't doing it. So I was like, I got to do this. So when I decided to go and sit for the exam, and people who don't know what that exam is, it's very intense, and I know there's many physical therapists in the groups as well, and they would understand. So when I decided to go for the test, I was not in touch with physical therapy for about, how many years? 11 years, I believe. So about 11 years. So I was working in a totally different management industry, and here I decided. Now, I decided that, however, on the same time, I had this belief kept coming in my mind that, well, I haven't worked in this field for so long, whether I would be able to pass. I had seen many of my friends, and they had tried 5 attempts, 6 attempts, 7 attempts, and they had failed. and it still hadn't passed. And here I'm deciding to go and travel from New Zealand to America to sit for the exam. And I'm expecting that, okay, I'm going to pass my exam the very first attempt. Now, everything, my belief even was like, no, I can't do that in the first attempt. I haven't touched my books for 11 years. I haven't worked in that industry. Now, on the same time, and I'm so grateful for this material, what we teach here, because that's where actually I started to take it more seriously. And I think that was probably the very first goal I achieved using this material. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go for it and I'm going to pass my exam in my very first attempt. So I started working and I started applying the material and everything. And I was due to sit for the test in July in the same year. So within 6 months, I decided. So what happened on the way, my daughter got very unwell. Everything was against, like all the evidences outside was not supporting for me to go for the exam and pass for that. Even I did a mock test before and I failed in that. So I failed in that exam. So everything outside was like, no, it's not going to happen. And I spoke to my teacher who was helping me with the physical therapy side, right? And he's like, usually mock test gives quite a good indication. If you don't pass that, then you're probably on it's a risk. So it's really up to you whether you want to take a risk, you want to travel, and you want to come here or not. And you know what? There's something within me with this material, was like, I had been doing all this work, I followed all that steps, the blueprint, what we got. And something within me was like, if I don't do it now, I don't think I will go back. And because I was going to go back and join my job, that was my maternity leave for my first child. So I was like, if I didn't try now, it's not going to happen. So I didn't give up. So I still went ahead and I went there 10 days before my exam. I absolutely gave my best and I kept doing the work. I kept focusing on that it is done, that I've already got the license. I wrote my post of saying thank you to the NPTE teacher 3 months before. Long post that I'm so grateful. I've passed the exam. I'm feeling so grateful that I've fulfilled the dream I promised to my father. So everything was done vibrationally. So what happened? I sat for the exam. It was very hard, but I did eventually pass the exam in my very first attempt. Why? Beside all these negative evidences, I stayed tuned with, I put my focus on to how it would feel like when I passed the exam. And it did. So that is exactly what you got to do. Yes, it is challenging when you don't have the results, but it's not impossible. You can do it when you are studying every day, when you are surrounded by the people who are going to remind you of this. And that's obviously is what we do at the Paradigm Shift Institute.
Yeah, powerful share as usual. And I love the stories that you share. And maybe do you have any story in mind for any of our clients that you would like to share about this?
Yeah. I mean, I actually had this coach who started working with me and in 101, and where she was stuck at about 10,000 a month. So, and she's been, she was like, I just, no matter what I try, I just don't move from that result. That's where I'm stuck. And obviously we worked with her, using the same material we talked about in the blueprint. And I had heard recently from her that she's made her month, which is the first time, $70,000. So is that something I've done? No. She changed her self-concept.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yes, I helped her. I guided her with that blueprint, but it doesn't happen until you do the work, though. And obviously, she was coachable, and that's the beauty of it. Like she just, she made the investment back, like, I would say not even only the investment, like 3 times back within a month. So, and that's the beauty of this material.
Thank you so much. Always sharing incredible stories. And I believe someone has taken this because we can all take this and apply it to our lives. So just remember that it's the implementation, like you heard what she said. The lady worked on her self concept. So, Anu, what are the announcements for today? I know that we were talking about the bonus in the event, and we also said we're going to tell the winners for for the event today.
Oh yes. Okay. Have you come up with that? I had totally forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Great.
I think
Well, let's
yes.
announce.
Okay, so our winner for doing the assignments is Amy Ekbu. She's the winner for doing the assignments. And
Excellent.
then, yeah, and you know, the thing about her is that she's always so committed. And I think the other winner is, who is that? Who is that? Who is that? Let me see. Oh, Andrea. Andrea.
Yeah, she was such, and I think she would have got for the engagement, right? So she was on
Yeah,
fire.
she goes for the engagement. So
That's good.
congratulations to our winners. Thank you so much. You know, your presence and commitment is very encouraging to everyone. And I also want to use the opportunity to thank everyone who was there. But you know, it's a draw. It's a draw, and it's just randomly picked. But we do celebrate every single one of you for being there. So, Anu, over to you.
No, thank you. And obviously, we'll be in touch with you to let you know what the um, prize is. So stay tuned. Now, in terms of the announcements, obviously, as you guys know, and if you have attended the 3 days, we have announced that we are open the invitation for you guys to work with us. If this information resonated with you, and if you feel that, yes, I'm ready and you're committed for your goal, we want to invite you to come and work with us so we can help you to, and we can hold your hand to take you to your goal. And there is an application form in the comment section. So please go ahead and fill out the application form. And after you've done that, check out your messenger as well, because we would have reached out to you to arrange a call. Now, I had received a couple of messages yesterday where someone said that they could not book a call because the calendar was booked before Thursday. So obviously they couldn't take the advantage of the full bonus. And I actually didn't realize that. So thank you for bringing that up. So what we're going to do, so for the people who have booked their call by end of today, they would, if they do go ahead and sign up for any of the coaching, and they would still be eligible for the bonus we had announced, and that was 10% for the full payment bonus and 4 weeks additional coaching. And that doesn't matter whether you're going for the payment plan or the full payment. So that would be there. If you book the call by end of today, you will get 10%, but if you do it by 27th of November, it is 5%. And the invitation is for our 12 months making my first million coaching program, group coaching program, as well as 101. For 101, there's only 3 slots. So go ahead and book the call, fill out the application form. If you have any question, feel free to reach out to any one of us. But like I said at the beginning of this podcast, right now where you are vibrating, it's easier to take the action from that place, rather than if you think that, oh, I'll do that maybe in a month or in a 2 weeks time. You have to be really intentional about knowing where you are vibrating and take the advantage of that, because it's easier now you're probably comparatively vibrating at the place where you should be closer to that. But if you do it in 10 days from now, we don't know, life takes over, something happens, you kind of drifted down, and it's going to be a totally impossible thing for you to do then. And that's where you have to be aware and take the action from that place. So go ahead and fill out the application form. Or if you have any question, you kind of like, I'm not ready to apply yet, but you do have some question, you want to have the clarity, because we do have other solutions as well. We don't, it's not only limited to only 12 months. We do have other solutions. So do reach out to us to find out, maybe there's another way we can help you with.
Thank you so much for that clarity. And we always like to give a follow-up activity, which I feel you've already done, because the most important thing is to fill the form, complete the form, and then book your call. Is there any other thing you want to add to that?
No, I think that's, I really want you to, and I know we have had this day 3 assignment as well. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing that if you have reached out to those 7 people I talked about, that, you're going to be reaching out to your prospects. So make sure you do and let us know in the post, and take the action, book the call, reach out to us, fill out the application form. And these actions may sound little, but trust me, they're gonna change the trajectory of your life. They truly will. And it will be not long before when you will say thank you for pushing us to actually get that done. So do that, trust us and take that action today. And before before we conclude, Inia, I do want to ask you this, that do you have any, what was your biggest takeaway from the event?
I think that the greatest gift you gave me there was the 6-point selling mindset. Now, that was the most powerful gift. The video where Bob was talking about the 6-point selling mindset. I know that a lot of people tend to be very scared of selling, but he just presented it. And the story you shared, that even when he was taken to the hospital, he was still selling.
Yes.
He was still selling. And before we came on, I was just contemplating that. And I was like, wow, this is what it means to be in love with your goal. This is what it means to be in love with your goal. So I think that really stood out for me. Aside from the fact that I've been hearing you say it, but it really came to life to me when you were talking about breaking down the goal, crunching the numbers. So that kind of stood out for me. So
Excellent.
yeah, I'm going to make a few changes in the way I do my things. Of course, improving in my discipline, and then breaking down those goals. So those are the things that really popped out to me. Yeah. So thank you
That's
so
great.
much.
No, that's great. I'm sure that's going to make a lot of difference. So, and it is for everyone, right? And now it obviously did to me when I, learned that the very first time, and obviously that has helped in my own results, and that's why I decided to include that um, in the event. So, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank you,
so
everyone.
much. Thank you so much. So, as we round off, thank you for coming on. I just close with this, that a lot of people want to change their lives. I mean, it's an innate desire that you want to change your life. But many are clueless how to do so. And I can understand, because I know how our paradigms, get in the way, because they're just there like very still, calm waters, lying low until they are disturbed and rippled by your C-type goal. Once you have a C-type goal, then they just pop out from the dark, and they're bearing their ferocious fangs and saying, go back to your comfort zone. They want to keep you safe. And waking them up can throw up all sorts of things, just like you described. And you use the words demons. It's true. So the tendency is to return to the comfort zone. And I know how many times I have felt it, but I have had to remind myself intentionally and deliberately, have conversations with myself about my why. Why am I doing it? And then I find a way to keep myself going, and I keep at it, especially when there's discouragement and fatigue. And I congratulate myself for that, because I've really changed in that area. Where I would normally give up, I talk to myself and I find a way to keep going. So I'm really happy with myself.
I love
Please.
that. I love that. Actually, hearing that from you only, because I know we can be so hard on ourselves, right? It is so good. That's a shift. That's a shift when you start giving credit to yourself more, and people struggle with that. And
Yeah.
yes, you are. And I always say that, right? I really love how you actually keep going, getting up. And it doesn't matter what the time is. You're just there. You are just there. And but it's good to hear it came from you this time. I'm so pleased with that.
Thank you, Anu. Thank you. Because truthfully, playing safe is not going to give us much of a life. No.
Yeah.
You show the pictures of your beautiful home. People want to live, quality lives. But the thing is that if we are not ready to walk on the waters of discomfort, we are not ready. I know the price you pay. I know what it costs you, right? So we just have to learn to rise to the capacity of our goal. So thank you so much, everyone. We understand that changing direction from a familiar way can be tough, but this is why the community that we have here is so helpful. The group coming to work with us. So I still want to encourage you to come on board and enjoy the support that we offer here. So, because if you want to make $1 million, then you must rise to that capacity and you must know that you can do it. So, congratulations for everyone who showed up today and for everyone who watched the replays. Showing up is halfway point to success. So, taking decisive action is the other half. So, being here is one. The next thing is the action. So, desire, decide, and take the action. So, to know more about us as an institute, we have told you, schedule your breakthrough call, fill in the application form now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Now, it's confidential and it is free. So I think Pragati has put in the link in the comment section. Just click it and that's it. So thank you, Anu, for another very insightful podcast. Join us next week, same time, same place. If you want to know more about the podcast, go to the group, you'll find it there. And we'll see you for another exciting edition on the science of wealth. And on that note, Enya Epele and Anus Wadwaseni are saying good morning, good evening, and good night. So see you next time.
Thank you,
Bye.
guys.